He threw his dick into the ring here, saying he's the daddy.
Eavesdroppin.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Geordie. How's it going?
I'm going well. How about you? Are you still travelling?
I'm travelling. I'm a travelling gal.
Travelling Bilberry.
The Bilberry. We've already talked about this.
Have you had a good time on the road?
Yes, Australia, absolutely stunning. Gorgeous. Went to beautiful beaches. Been having a lovely time. It's been pissing it down.
Right.
But who cares?
It does rain in Australia. That's that poem, isn't it? I love a sunburnt country, a land of sweeping plains, of
rugged mountain ranges and of droughts and flooding plains.
Flooding rains.
I thought it was plains.
No.
Okay, we need to look that one up. Another thing we get wrong, like my story last week about those bloody Mexicans who actually, that story was 2 years ago. The one that I referenced, you were the one on the money.
That was some confusion right there, wasn't it?
That's what you get with eavesdropping.
And that's what you're here for. So welcome people, welcome eavesdroppers to a very confusing time. You're welcome to join us.
I'm Michelle.
And I'm Geordie.
And you're an eavesdropper because you're eavesdropping on us. And we love it. We thank you.
Do you know what we love the most is when you write in and you send your voice notes in and you send your ideas for stories. Michelle, they have been coming thick and fast, mate. Thick and fast.
That sounds exciting.
It is. Well, I've been having a lot of chats with a few of our lovely eavesdroppers. But before we talk about that, I just want to tell you something that I read at 4 o'clock in the morning when I couldn't sleep. I picked up the Fortean Times.
It's just a wealth of wonder.
I saw this one and it said, infelicitous insertions, will they never learn? And I can see a picture of, do you remember when you told me that story about the old man that went into the French hospital with a World War II bomb up his arse?
Yes, it was stuck right up his bum hole.
And the whole hospital had to be evacuated. I've got a picture of it. It's being held with a man with a plastic glove and a tissue. So I imagine it was probably in a bit of a state when they finally got it out.
The tissue.
But they're talking about that story, Michelle. They're a bit late. We've already covered it in a previous episode. But they are talking about other things like eels up the arse and all sorts. There's all sorts of things that go up the arse and up the all sorts. And there's just this one story which I found absolutely horrifying. And it's called Antique Excitement. It's about the fear that was spreading through all the antique dealers in Houston, Texas, when they heard that there was a man in a kilt visiting all the antique shops and sticking things up his arse and then returning them to the shelves.
No. Oh my God. Just a little browner.
And actually, some of the things had to be thrown away because they were covered in excrement.
Oh, my God. What a shitty thing to do.
It really is quite literally a shitty thing to do. He'd go to antique stores and furtively insert items from the displays into his anus before returning them to the... That's what it says in the magazine.
Oh, my God.
And it was caught on CCTV by one antique shop owner. And she said, I had to watch it a couple of times to be sure that I knew what I was looking at. She had seen him in the shop on several occasions previously. He was loitering for hours without buying anything. Then she saw him pick up a makeup brush and then another piece and shove both things up his arse and then return them to the shelf.
Hang on, but how do you do that without pulling your pants down?
He's wearing a kilt.
Oh, my God.
I said.
I
he's
didn't
in a
hear
kilt.
That bit. Disgusting.
It's a plain kilt. No plaid, yes. The man's name was... They've got his name here. I'm going to name and shame. Mitchell C. Vest. He's 60. He's been arrested and charged with criminal mischief.
Okay, I didn't even know that was a thing. Criminal mischief.
Yes. But going back to what the listeners have been sending in, I've got something here from Charlene. She's fabulous, Charlene. She loves to chat. Love a chat with Charlene. She was telling me she's gone back. She's new to the party, bless her. And she's gone back over quite a few old episodes. And she said that she listened back to the one about MK Ultra and wondered if we'd like a music fact, which is The song My Love by Irish boy band Westlife was actually used by the CIA in Afghanistan as a means of torture. And the song was played on a loop at high volume to assault prisoners' senses for hours on end. And then she sent me a link to a story which was fascinating. This poor man, I can't remember his name, he was tortured for hours. And because he'd just gotten engaged, they used that song, which is appalling anyway, but they'd intersperse it with really awful heavy metal. And if that happens on a loop, it can assault the senses to the point where your brain just absolutely gets frazzled. And the poor guy who experienced this gets flashbacks. He certainly can't listen to Westlife anymore. God help you, darling, I can't either. He's gone on to sue the CIA operatives who came up with that method of torture.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if Westlife knew that they were involved in war crimes, essentially. Goodness me.
I know, it's awful, isn't it?
Wow. Well, thank you, Charlene. How terrifying and fascinating all at the same time. Well, I bet you she's going to come up with some more factoids and titty-bitties as she listens through the back catalogue.
She will be sending her titty-bitties right in our direction, I'm sure. And another person I've been chatting with on the social medias, and if you're wondering where that is, people, Instagram is eavesdroppin_. And so the other one is eavesdroppinpodcast.com or something, Facebook. And there's TikTok as well. We put things on TikTok. But I've been having a conversation with Shari, who just discovered Cillian Murphy. She's never really
How did she only just?
I know.
How did she only just
She
discover
understands.
him?
She gets it. She knows she's late to the party. But I've just personally told her my previous story about meeting Cillian Murphy in the shop that I was working in and sharing the fact that I've got a kid with the same name. And that was a fun conversation for all of 2 seconds. What did she say? She's going through all his back catalogue. She's enjoying everything that she's watching. Yeah, she's loving it. Loving a bit of Cillian. Oh, and she said there's a radio show with him on as well. I didn't know that. Radio 6 maybe? I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. Well, she's informing us. Amazing. I'm going to have to get on that because I love him.
You too love Cillian.
I do. In the younger days, people used to say that my ex-boyfriend looked like him. So that was very nice. I thought,
nice for everyone.
Almost dating a celebrity. Oh, well, that's lovely, Shari. Thank you. Thanks for writing in. We'd love it when you take the time.
It's on. It's on. It's on. It's on like Donkey Kong.
It's gone.
It's on. It's on. On like Donkey Kong.
Gone. Now, as you know, Geordie, last week you did that incredible one-hander on Miriam and the horrible life that she ended up having after, basically this awful production company tricked these 6 boys into a trans dating show. I mean, it was really serious. There's lots of links. If you're a Patreon member, there's lots of links.
The Patreon, Michelle, I just had a little peep at it. The links are abundant. I love what you've done.
Oh, well, you'll love the one. I've just put a link this week to Calm on your website.
Oh.
Yes,
okay.
Because we talked about putting some of our music, so it's just the track.
That's right. We've got some of our music. We've got some fabulous videos of ourselves and both times, there's 2 separate videos of us performing in a field. And both times I'm pregnant, I want to point out, because I do look enormous, but that's because I'm about 6 months pregnant. Both times. I wasn't constantly 6 months pregnant.
Two children. But they were good fun. And then I popped a little video of my early days on there.
I saw it. Yes, that song's been in my head ever since, actually. Coolest band. I remember when it came out. Yes, great tune. Montana, what a band.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, no, it was a good time. But yes, on the Patreon, I've got all these links, including these ones about Miriam. There's been a lot of debate about that documentary you watched.
Ooh,
some people say it's an expose and it's lovely, and other people say the documentary is as grubby as what they did to her. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, really. It's a bit of controversy out there. So I'd love anyone who did end up watching the 3-parter, get in touch. Tell us your thoughts.
We might get shouted at, Michelle.
Well, they do on bloody YouTube. They shout at us all the time, the bloody trolls. Well, look, following on from your look at a reality star, today I'm looking at one of the biggest, most talked about reality stars of the early 2000s. She was blonde, She was beautiful. She was funny. She married a billionaire oil tycoon.
Oh, God, why not?
Yes. If you don't know yet who we're talking about, none other than the tragic life of blonde bombshell, Anna Nicole Smith.
Oh, the guest girl.
Yes. And look, this is not so much a murder mystery, but kind of a look back at the tragedy of her life. So I actually didn't know this, but Anna Nicole Smith was not born Anna Nicole Smith. And that's a very plain name. So
Yes.
kind of don't know why anyone would choose that. Her real name was Vicky Lynn Hogan. I guess Anna Nicole Smith's better. She was born November 28, 1967 in Houston, Texas. Her mum, Virgie, was 16 when she had baby Vicky. And, like, trigger here, her dad, Donald, spent 6 months in jail for statutory rape when she was a baby.
Oh, what?
And when I tried to find out more info on this, I read that by the time she was born, her dad had raped her mother Virgie's sister, who was 10 at the time.
God. Oh, that's horrific.
Yeah. And then when her mum Virgie found out, when Vicky, i.e. Anna Nicole, was just a baby,
Oh, God.
Donald was kicked out of the house. He was then picked up for rape. He pleaded guilty to that rape and to another rape of another underage girl.
Oh,
and he only spent 6 months in jail.
what?
And look, I did read reports too that Anna Nicole said in later years that her dad did try to sexually abuse her too.
Oh, my God.
And he came out and said, oh, yeah, it could be possible. I don't remember.
Oh, jeez, mate. Come on.
I know. So that's how this girl grew up.
Right.
You know? So Vicky / Anna Nicole had a pretty chaotic childhood where she grew up with 4 step siblings and ended up with 5 half siblings.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And then Virgie took a job as a sheriff's deputy, which I thought, wow,
job.
good on you, Virgie.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you were a mum at 16 and, you know, had all these awful things happen. It didn't actually go so well because it's alleged that one of Anna Nicole's younger half-brothers, who also was called Donnie after the dad,
Ew.
accidentally shot himself in the head with Virgie's gun
No.
when he was 3 years old.
No.
Because he went in the handbag and it went off.
Oh, God.
What's worse is he didn't die. He was just left with a severe head wound.
Oh.
So,
Michelle, this fucking story about a reality star already needs about 500 trigger warnings, quite literally. I'm devastated already. We're only 10 minutes in.
I know, and you just think, how did this girl survive? This is how she grew up.
Gee whiz.
In her early teens, Anna Nicole, who is still Vicky at this point, was sent to live with her Aunt Kay, which is the one that was raped by her dad, in a place called Mahia, spelt Mexia. Mahia, in Texas. And look, it's because Vicky was a handful. Virgie just could not deal with her.
Right.
So off she went to live with her aunt. But I did think, if you're a sheriff's deputy, love, surely you can handle a naughty teenager.
Yeah, that's a good point. But she had like 100 other children by the sound of it.
Yeah, and she's the kind of lady who leaves a gun in her bag. Jury's out on that. But Virgie remarried a guy called Donald Hart. And I looked this up. I think she actually had 6 husbands in her lifetime.
All called Donald?
2 of them were called Donald, yeah. Donald, 1, McDonald. So at this point, Vicky started going by the name Nikki, and she gave herself the surname Hart. Apparently in Mahia, she did not have a lot of friends at school, and she dropped out in the 9th grade and went to work at Jim's Crispy Fried Chicken Shop.
That sounds like it says all that you need to know just in the title. Nikki Vicky sounds like she's having quite the crisis, the identity crisis.
You would think so, because it's close, but it gives her just that little bit of ability to not be her. At the fried chicken shop, she meets a guy called Billy Smith. They get married. He's 16, she's 17, and she's pregnant.
Oh, already?
Yeah, she gives birth to a son called Daniel Wayne Smith in January 1986. Now, I read this guy was not a good guy.
Oh, God.
He allegedly kept her locked inside the house,
Huh?
wouldn't let her out. And he said he wasn't that mean to her. He only hit her,
okay.
not that much. Not that much.
Honestly.
It'll come as no surprise that they separated after a year. At this point, she's a single mom trying to raise her kid. So she moves to Houston and takes a job stripping at a place called Rick's Cabaret, which actually is this kind of upmarket gentleman's club. She's making good money there. She's there for quite a few years. And by 1991, Nikki Hart, who is now Vicky Smith, so she's not Vicky Hogan, she's not Nikki Hart, she's Vicky Smith.
Right.
She's kept the husband's name and gone back to her original name.
I'm getting whiplash. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. She manages to save up $14,000 to get a boob job.
Well, that's an investment.
Yep, she gets those massive fake tits.
Because they're huge, aren't they? How big are they?
36 double Ds.
That doesn't even seem very big now.
No, but I also read that people say she had 42 double Ds.
Maybe she grew.
Maybe.
Well, double D is the cup size, isn't it? And the number is the back size. So maybe her back just got bigger.
Well, she was a big girl.
She was a tall girl, wasn't she?
She was tall, but she was also what you would call voluptuous. You know,
I liked that about her.
She was a plus-size girl, didn't hold her back. And those tits basically were the making of her. But I think also the undoing of her. Because either way you look at it, those boobs became her trademark. That kind of marked the beginning of the person we all came to know as Anna Nicole Smith. So she's got these massive boobs, but she's also got massive back pain because of them.
Oh, God, okay.
You cannot have that much weight in the front without it hurting your back. So this intense back pain basically led her straight to a painkiller addiction that lasted her whole life because she was not prepared to give up those boobs. That was the consequence. But another consequence of those boobs was she met a high roller at that gentleman's club.
Yes.
He was a cowboy hat wearing, probably at some stage gun-toting oil tycoon from Dallas called J. Howard Marshall II. And this guy is a total catch. He's rich.
Yeah.
He's kind-hearted.
Yeah.
And he's 87 years old.
Yes. I mean, I think I've seen pictures of him. He is a total catch, apart from the fact that he looks like a corpse.
Yes, he does. And look, he falls instantly and madly in love with Vicky the stripper.
Of course he does.
On the night he met her, he's like, honey, you got to stop stripping and I'll pay you just to hang out with me. And she's kind of like, yeah, sure. You know, I got to dance tomorrow. Yeah, thanks for the money tonight. Because he's flipping over envelopes full of cash. And she's like, yeah, that's all well and good, but I need to put food on the table for my kid tomorrow night. He's like, baby, you never have to work again. Stick with me.
Okay.
She's like, great, I'll take it. They end up together. And after 1 week, he pops the question. He proposes to her and she says yes. But they did not get married straight away. That took a few years. From what I read, she was actually really into him.
He probably provided some sort of security and a father figure that she'd always lacked.
Yes. I think there is so much more to why she ended up with this guy. And it's not just the money. Obviously, money is a big part of what's going on here. But personally, I just feel like even if it was just about the money, why the fuck not?
Yeah.
You know, she gave this guy probably more fun than he'd had in decades. She probably made him feel young again.
Yeah.
And like you said, he made her feel safe. So who cares? He got something out of it. She got something out of it. So however distasteful other people find that relationship, I think she was a kind-hearted person who genuinely did really care about him very much. And he was in love with her. A lot of marriages are based on worse things than that.
Yeah.
Also, I think people's reactions, because she was 26 at this point, a 26-year-old marrying an 89-year-old, because he was 89 when they got married, with billions of dollars.
Billions.
Yes, he was a billionaire. Look, I think a lot of that does come down to envy, because there are men who'll be envious that a guy at that age with that much money chose to spend his last day with a gorgeous, hot, busty blonde and, you know, leave this life with a smile on his face. Well, I think there will be women out there who maybe wouldn't shag him, but they might have had a moment where they might have been like, well, I could have if I was asked,
Yeah.
for all those billions.
Yeah.
So it's not as black and white as it seems. And actually, I did read in this great article in The Guardian that talked about the release of a Netflix documentary called Anna Nicole Smith, You Don't Know Me, which, full disclosure, Geordie, I did not have time to watch this.
Right.
But it does sound really fascinating.
Yeah.
In this article, it talks about when Anna Nicole first met J. Howard Marshall at the strip club in 91, when he was 86, she was 23. And it talks about how Anna Nicole was always portrayed in the media as this opportunistic gold digger. Gold digger.
What the fuck's going on?
A gold dinger. She was a gold dinger. Fucking hell, I need a daiquiri to get my words right. Look, she was portrayed in a most horrible way, but during the making of the documentary, the director, who's a woman called Ursula McFarlane, she talked about how during the process of actually putting the documentary together, one of the things that really surprised her was, and this is a quote, their relationship, regardless of the distance in decades, was actually genuine. It was love, whatever love means, and it felt very important for us to set the record straight. And apparently in the doco, there were lots of montages of all the tender moments the couple had together and recordings of affectionate phone calls between them and home movies that just show them being really loving. And maybe she's not like, oh, you're my hottest shag I've ever had. But a friend did say in this documentary, apparently, that the way she felt about him was, I love you and thank you for saving my life.
Wow.
I do think there's a lot to that relationship that maybe people prefer to just make fun of it.
Yeah, of course.
But back to Vicky Smith, she's got this billionaire boyfriend and she doesn't have to strip anymore. So she decides she's going to pursue her dream and she answers an open call for Playboy. This is the start of Vicky Smith turning into Anna Nicole Smith.
Right.
She basically wins the casting call for Playboy and she was the cover girl on the March 1992 edition. And this was all her own doing, actually. She got that cover off her own steam and her own looks and determination and abilities. It had nothing to do with this billionaire, like throwing money at it.
Yeah.
I think just being in that position where you've got somebody supporting you financially, it gives you a lift. It gives you
It's freedom.
that feeling that you can do anything.
You can do anything you want, yeah. Or at least try.
Exactly. So, good on her for following her dream, even if it's not everyone's dream. And I looked at that cover. Geordie, she's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
She has all her clothes on. She looks like a modern-day Marilyn Monroe or Jane Mansfield. She's got this big platinum blonde hair, this gorgeous, classy kind of 50s style dress on. She's holding opera glasses. She's wearing long gold gloves, and she just looks young and beautiful.
But of course, you open the pages and it's all gash.
Yeah, but everyone only bought it for the articles, didn't
Okay.
they? All those men. That's what they all used to say. Look, she was a smash hit and she quickly climbed the Playboy ladder to go from cover to centerfold, and then she was Playmate of the Year.
Ooh.
Yeah, I read that she was paid $500 for the cover. She was paid $20,000 for the centerfold.
Yeah.
And when she was voted Playmate of the Year, she got $100,000 and a brand new Jaguar from Hugh Hefner.
Nice. So she's got two old rich guys helping her out.
Yeah, she knows how to work it. And essentially, that was when she became Anna Nicole Smith. It was a perfect timing because that name change was at the peak of when she was getting a lot of that early attention. She was 6 foot plus tall. She was this voluptuous blonde bombshell with big boobs, this gorgeous smile, and she was channeling all that Marilyn Monroe energy in a modern way. And people were really responding to her looks. And, she has this fun, bubbly personality. She's a bigger girl. She's plus size. And she's getting loads of attention for being Playmate of the Year. And as you alluded to earlier, that's when, in 1993, the Guess Jeans founder, Paul Marciano, saw her in Playboy and he signed her up to a 3-year, multi-million-dollar contract to replace Claudia Schiffer, who had been the face of Guess, and also Eva Herzegovina. And suddenly, she's gone from stripping in a gentleman's club to actually being a proper model.
Yeah.
She's all over billboards, all over the world, in magazines. And she looks stunning in those campaigns.
Her guest campaigns, they were amazing and very inspirational to real women. Obviously, she doesn't look real because she's absolutely stunning and she's got that blonde hair.
Yeah.
But it was her size that drew my attention because back then, what was I? A couple of years younger than her. And I was always tall and voluptuous. So it was nice to see real women, you know?
Well, that's the thing. Like you say, she's absolutely stunning. So her face is a supermodel, but they did not shy away from her fuller figure. And they really played up to this idea of her as a blonde bombshell in those campaigns. You know, they did make it more about her looks and personality and less about the clothes. You know, she was just really dominating those campaigns. At that moment in time, she was so beautiful. And they really did play up the whole Marilyn Monroe, Jane Mansfield, old world Hollywood kind of look. You know, there's this one of her sitting on a hay bale in a farm kind of barn, and she's wearing those Guess jeans and she's chewing on a piece of hay, and she's just beautiful. There's other ones where she's doing kind of Annie get your gun poses, and she just looks great. At that time, I could never afford a pair of Guess jeans, but
God, no.
Everybody wanted one because Anna Nicole Smith. Also, too, I was probably more into like tie-dye stockings and little grungy smocks. But, you know, the world was going crazy for her and she was wowing the world. You know, they couldn't get enough of her to the point where the Coen brothers saw her on those Guess billboards and they gave her a bit part in their film, The Hudsucker Proxy, which was perfect for her because it's all film noir.
Okay.
So she was, again, this
that.
Marilyn Monroe bit part. I'll put a link to it. She's gorgeous. She just lights up the screen. Yeah. You can't take your eyes off her. And she's funny. And I did think if she had gone down that acting route and become like a comedian, I think she actually could have been okay. She had great comedy timing. From this little tiny bit part in a Coen Brothers movie, she then got offered a role in Naked Gun, 33 1/3.
Oh, that's right, yes. Not that I watched that film. It sounds appalling, but I think I do remember.
So sexist. I mean, you know, they were playing up to all of that. It was the third film in that Naked Gun franchise. For all the younger eavesdroppers who have no clue what we're talking about, they're these kind of spoof comedy films full of sexual innuendo, dad jokes, and they were massive. Yeah. Those films were huge. And
they were so stupid, weren't they?
They were just dumb, but funny to a particular, you know, audience. And through that, Anna Nicole Smith's life became like international. And it must have been so exciting for her because she's not stripping in a bar. She's got billionaire boyfriend. She's a model. She's an actress. And her fame is rocketing to the point where she is like a household name. And the Naked Gun movie did really push her into that stratosphere because it also is a bit noirish and she plays a blonde bombshell in it again. Life is going really well for her. Everyone loves Anna Nicole Smith. And I think at this moment in her life, she sort of has it all. She could maybe have made better choices in the future with her film roles, and that didn't really happen. But at the same time that her career is like skyrocketing, so is her addiction to painkillers and party drugs. Oh, and they are pulling her straight down because even though she's like loving all this fame and attention, it gets a bit messy. You know, she starts getting into her fame and partying a lot. And according to a friend of hers called Missy, Anna Nicole got to the point where she maybe wasn't being so nice to J. Howard Marshall.
Oh, no.
And her friend says at this point she was treating him like an ATM.
Oh.
Yeah, which is not nice. But she also says that marks the point when she went from being this kind-hearted, bubbly girl who was just like, oh my God, it's happening. My life is happening, to sort of being just fucked up on drugs and painkillers.
Just changed her personality. And that's why, kids, just say no to drugs.
Did you steal my scrunchie?
Oh, have a look in your hair bag.
Oh, sorry, pet. What was that? When you're an addict, you start making bad choices. And in 1994, when she should have been using all this fame and fortune to create this beautiful life with her son and the oil tycoon boyfriend.
Husband?
Well, no, they're not married at this point.
Oh, they're still not married?
No, not at this point. They're still just going out. Yeah, so they're just going out, getting pap, doing dumb shit, like being at the mall drunk and taking her top off for fans.
Oh, no.
Or, she was one time at a party in a hotel and she had to be rushed to hospital after taking too many drugs.
It's getting messy.
They were all over her fuck ups.
And they were there.
Yeah, of course. They love to splash anything to do with her all over the tabloids and the gossip mags. And, of course, she gets dropped from Guess because it's not their image. Then, I don't know how they managed to keep this secret, but it's really in 94 that the tabloids suddenly dig into her life and find out her boyfriend is 87 years old and a billionaire oil tycoon. That's when the media really just bully her. She becomes a laughingstock because from their point of view, they were handed tabloid gold. They were not kind to her. And on June 24th, 1994, after she'd been dropped from Guess, the acting roles dried up. And she and J. Howard Marshall had been together for, I think, 4 years. They got married properly in Texas. Her in a big white dress. Him
in a wheelchair.
Wheeled in a wheelchair. Yep. Too unwell to even get out of that wheelchair. Yeah.
Poor chap, honestly.
And look, I don't know what kind of paperwork was signed, if there were prenups or whatever, but they got married and the world was their witness. And like I said, the media were awful about her. And she was the butt of basically the nastiest jokes going. And everyone had a go at her, at him. But she really did care about him. He was on his last legs, even though he was in that wheelchair. A couple of weeks after they got married, J. Howard gave power of attorney to his son Pierce because he knew it was fast approaching. The Grim Reaper was about to... Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper was about to touch him on the shoulder. The Grim Reaper, fucking hell.
Reach out and touch, Grim Reaper.
Reach out and touch death. And he knew it was coming. Pierce, the son, got power of attorney. Yes. By all accounts, he was a nasty piece of work.
And I see what you did
see what
there.
I did there? And the first thing he does is cut off Anna Nicole from all the money. He tries to get her as far away as possible from his dad.
Yeah.
All through it, J. Howard is like, don't worry, Anna Nicole, I'll take care of you. You'll be fine. Whatever happens to me, you'll be taken care of.
He's got it written into the will somewhere, I guess.
Well, no, because Pierce basically kept those papers away from his dad as long as possible. Yeah. He never actually managed to sign those papers to include her in his will.
Oh, dear.
I did read that Pierce was obsessed with keeping lawyers away from his dad, like back off lawyers. He did not want his dad handing over even a penny to Anna Nicole. Yeah, he wanted to protect his inheritance.
Yeah.
14 months after they got married in 1995, J. Howard Marshall died of pneumonia. And Anna Nicole wore her wedding dress to the funeral.
How do you feel about that?
I know. And she sang, "You are the wind beneath my wings" at the funeral. The minute that funeral was over, of course, this brutal legal battle began over who was going to get his billions. Of course, there's rumours he left her everything. There's rumours he left her nothing. There's rumours he gave her a house and a few mil. And there's rumours that she had access to all his bank accounts. There's also rumours that she was left penniless. The thing was that Pierce still had power of attorney and he wanted it all for himself. And the other brother of Pierce, got cut out as well.
Oh, no, Pierce.
I know. So the other brother and Anna Nicole banded together to try and get some of this cash.
Yeah. There's enough to go round, let's face it. You don't need it all, Pierce.
Well, I think some of it was protected because some of it was tied up in the businesses, which were going to be Pierce's. But I think there was give or take 450 mil in other cash and assets. He hated Anna Nicole so much, he did not want her to have anything. So, of course, she hired a legal team to fight for her share of the money. Part of that legal team was a guy called Howard K. Stern, which we'll come back to later because he's not a good guy. But fast forward to 1996 and Anna Nicole declares bankruptcy. She's got nothing. No one is throwing her a bone when it comes to movie roles. Like I said, the gas ads are gone. She's a a laughingstock, and people are just nasty about her. All the while trying to cope with that, she's just taking more and more pills to cope with everything. She went from kind of being media darling to a media joke.
Oh, dear.
And now she's having to fight all this endless litigation with no money because she's broke. And then finally, a California court who basically said, you're the wife. You're entitled to everything.
Of course. When he died and she's married, yeah.
They awarded her the whole fortune.
Wow.
Only for a couple of weeks later, a Texas court took it all away.
What? Oh, my
Yes.
God.
Now, I don't really understand how that's possible, but America obviously has different laws in different states.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe Texas trumps California in this situation. But either way, can you imagine how shit that would be to go from, woohoo, I got 450 mil to being penniless?
Damn, it's all gone. Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible. But of course, that's not the end of it because her legal team kept trying every avenue they possibly could to see how they could get the money for her because it's a big payday for them too.
For sure.
So this was dragging on. And during it all, Anna Nicole's got nothing. She's got no money.
Wow.
So what do you do, Geordie, when you've been fighting the courts for give or take 5 years, you got no career, no money, and reality TV comes knocking on your door?
You answer it.
And you do the Anna Nicole show.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember that? Do you remember her reality TV show?
I don't remember it.
Okay, so 2002, created the Anna Nicole show. And it was basically one of the earliest reality shows.
Oh.
Yeah, it was kind of at the same time the Osbournes was happening. That very, very early kind of incarnation of cameras in your home, following her crazy life.
Yeah.
Yep. And in this show, it's her son, Daniel. She's got her assistant, Kim, who's got this purple hair, her dog, Sugar Pie, and this lawyer, Howard K. Stern, who was kind of her boyfriend, but kind of not.
Yeah.
Kind of a lawyer, but kind of not because...
Oh, God. Blurred lines.
He got kicked out of his law firm. And he was really relying on this reality show for money, basically using Anna Nicole for money because he then became her acting agent.
What kind of a car crash is this TV show?
Horrible. Absolutely horrible. The Anna Nicole show premiered in August 2002 and it immediately became the E! Network's most watched show. People could not take their eyes off this show. It is fucking train wreck. Absolute train wreck of a reality show. It's really exploitative when you look back at it now. And she's out of it. Clearly out of it. Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, they're just using her. It's like basically train wreck TV on speed. And you cannot help but feel sorry for her. Plus, she'd put on loads of weight. And people were really cruel about it.
Oh.
She, in so many of the episodes, she was just fucked. She was slurring her speech.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, really sad. And she was doing crazy things like always talking about sex. And, oh my God, I need to go home and masturbate.
What?
Yeah, just weird stuff. It's tragic and really uncomfortable. But, things like she crawls under a table and her bum is so big that she gets stuck and she's screaming for help. And they're just,
oh no.
I don't know if that's scripted. She's really sexualizing herself, but it's meant to be funny. But at that time, Geordie, no one had seen anything like this on TV. It was just fucking crazy.
It probably feels quite wrong.
Well, yeah, because you're watching this woman, unraveling on reality TV. But a bit like what we talked about with Corey Haim, actually, he's just losing
I forgot
it.
He had a show. Yeah. That reminds me, we saw Stand By Me the other day.
Oh, what did you think?
My daughter put it on and I watched it over her shoulder. I've seen it before. No, it was good.
It's good. It's quite slow, like in an 80s kind of 90s.
But it's great. And my daughter loved it. Yeah. Sorry to segue. Carry on.
No, not at all. We'll go back to Anna Nicole because like Corey Haim, like River Phoenix, just had this crazy life. But anyway, like I said, people loved this reality TV show in a I love it, hate it way.
Yeah.
And it got another season.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know what that says about people.
Well, what does it say that they even made a show called There's Something About Miriam?
Yeah.
This is the Wild West of reality right here. You know, it's that horrible time when there were no ethics for this stuff.
Yeah.
It was about, we need a reveal and we'll do anything at any cost to get it and we'll hurt people. But in season 2, she was at the Kentucky Derby, and while she was on location there shooting, she meets a photographer called Larry Burkhead. And they begin secretly dating.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's kind of a whirlwind. They really like each other, and he really quite quickly moves in with her. You know, despite this whole kind of reality TV circus, which is now Anna Nicole's life, he's actually not a fame whore. He's not trying to photobomb her life. I think he genuinely really did have feelings for her. And, you know, he's really in the background. But obviously the Anna Nicole show had started off with absolute mega ratings. But by season 2, it had fizzled out. No one was watching because it was just too much.
Yeah.
And it got cancelled. And she kind of withdrew from the spotlight. But this girl is a hustler and she knows how to make money. And she's back in the public eye around 2004, 32 kilos lighter. And she's now the spokesperson for a weight loss pill called Trim Spa.
Ooh.
By all accounts, was a total scam.
Ew.
Yeah, it was really expensive. It didn't work. Eventually, the company went into liquidation, ordered by the government, but also they got sued. And Nicole got sued too,
gosh,
for some reason. And it was full of pseudoephedrine and caffeine.
Oh, no.
So people were feeling really speedy. Look, you know, she was the face of this. And it was a total dud. But it did get her out in front of the media. And then with this kind of 70 pounds, you know, 32 kilos lighter body, she had a lot of new opportunities.
Yeah.
She was in a Kanye video. She was, I think, did a workout video. She was asked to introduce Kanye at the 2004 Billboard Music Awards.
Oh.
And I don't know if you remember this, but she was so fucking out of it.
Oh, no.
She was slurring her speech so
that's unfortunate.
badly. And the whole world, they were like, what the fuck? How is this woman still alive? But more than that, how did they even let her on TV like that? You know, there's no duty of care here.
No, there's not, clearly.
And it did remind me of the whole Amy Winehouse thing. No one was caring. Well, you know, they let Amy Winehouse perform when she was just fucked
there were some
up.
awful performances, weren't there, in the documentary?
It's because Amy Winehouse, Anna Nicole Smith, they were just a money bag, you know, that people were using. So, you know, once again, Anna Nicole is in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. A few years later, Larry Burkhead, who was her boyfriend at that time, had said she'd had 2 seizures the night of that music awards show.
Wow.
And yeah, she was prescribed loads of meds. So something was not right, but they still let her go on.
God.
This is also that time in history where if you had money, you could find a dodgy doctor to give you whatever prescription meds you wanted. Fast forward to late 2005, and Anna Nicole becomes pregnant for a second time.
Yeah.
Even though she is still totally hooked on the drink and the drugs.
That's, shocking.
Yeah, it is. And there's a lot of speculation too that she might have been taking heroin at this point.
Oh, no.
You know, 5 months into the pregnancy, she flipped out and left Larry Burkhead, the boyfriend. And she went to the Bahamas with Howard K. Stern, the dodgy lawyer, who sounds like a piece of shit, who was really controlling and manipulative and a total user.
She's his cash cow, right?
Exactly. So she stays in the Bahamas for the last 3 months of her pregnancy, and apparently there is video footage of her completely out of it on drugs.
Oh, no.
She has not stopped taking drugs during the pregnancy.
Yeah.
And all the while, Howard K. Stern is selling whatever he can. He's selling photos of her. He's selling videos of her. He's trying to get money from just, you know, paparazzi shit, however he can. And it's...
What a monster.
Because Anna Nicole's still in litigation over the whole inheritance thing.
Okay.
Yeah, if she's going to get anything, it's coming, but maybe it's not coming. So this Howard K. Stern is
hustle. Yeah.
Hustle. And look, that court case is still ongoing because May 1st, 2006, the US Supreme Court, unanimously decided that Anna wasn't necessarily going to get the money, but they agreed that she had the right to try and get the money.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, but it still sounds fucked up.
Right.
Then, a month after that decision, Pierce Marshall, who had the power of attorney, dropped dead.
Oh.
At the age of 67.
Oh, my gosh.
So now all the money's gone to his wife, Elaine, who inherited everything. So now that's who Anna's got to fight to get some of the money. And then on September 7th, 2006, Anna Nicole gave birth to Hannah Rose Marshall Stern.
Right.
Howard K. Stern films the C-section and sells it to Entertainment Tonight.
Jesus Christ. That's disgusting.
What a fucking dick.
And the baby's called Stern. So he's assuming parental.
Well, Marshall Stern.
Marshall Stern.
So the last name of the billionaire.
And the last name of the lawyer.
And
who she's saying is the father, is she?
Well, there's a big debate about that. I'll get to that in a sec. Because 2 days after Hannah Rose is born, Anna Nicole's other son, Daniel, who is now 20, flies out to the Bahamas to meet his
sister,
his baby half-sister. He's staying in the hospital room with Anna Nicole, who is still recovering from the C-section. She's out of it on pain meds. He's sleeping in a chair next to her in the hospital room, while Howard K. Stern is sleeping on a bed on the other side of the hospital room. And on September 10, 2006, at 6:20 a.m., a nurse sees Daniel kind of, tending to his mum and making sure she's okay. Then at 9:30 a.m., Anna Nicole wakes up to find Daniel sleeping by her side. So she goes to nudge him awake. He doesn't wake up.
Oh, no.
His skin is cold. So she calls for help, but it's too late. He's dead.
Oh, gosh. Oh, that's devastating.
It's said that he died from a drug overdose. Basically, he had a lethal combination of Lexapro, Zoloft, and methadone, which they think was Anna Nicole's.
Right.
And you only really take methadone if you've been on heroin during your pregnancy. So there she is, brand new baby, 2 days old, a dead son, and this dickhead who is selling footage of her C-section.
That's just a horrible place to find yourself, right?
It's just awful. People are speculating that he took the pills and methadone from her handbag and took them intentionally because he wanted to take his own life. Oh. Other people say it's an accident.
Right.
But however you look at it, it's fucked up.
It's just awful.
Yeah. Anna Nicole was inconsolable.
Yes.
And she was so overcome with grief that Howard K. Stern decided she needed to be sedated.
Oh, no. This woman is already a walking drug cocktail.
Yeah.
No more.
And, of course, he's got the cameras rolling.
Oh, my God.
With all of this. And he sold the last photos of Anna Nicole and Daniel together in the hospital room.
What?
Yep, to a magazine called In Touch for nearly $500,000.
This is disgusting.
This guy is a piece of shit. And in a tribute to her son, Anna Nicole changed the name from Hannah Rose to Daniel Lynn. And Howard K. Stern was listed as the father on the birth certificate.
Yeah.
Because, if Anna Nicole gets the money, who's the heir? Daniel's now dead. The daughter does. And if you're the dad, you might also get some of that cash.
Maybe Daniel's death wasn't such an accident.
Oh, my God. I hadn't even thought of that. But that is a creepy little
This
side
Stern
note,
guy.
if that is true. Yeah. So then in September 2006, Howard K. Stern goes on the Larry King live show in the US, kind of a talk show. And he says, I'm Anna's lover and I'm the father of her child. But then Larry Burkhead, who's been Anna's boyfriend at that time,
secretly
hit back saying, I'm the father. There's this whole trailer trash. I'm the father. No, I'm the father.
It's like Phil Donahue or whatever he's called.
I know. I love Donahue. Dead now. But then 2 days later, Anna Nicole and Howard Stern get married on board a catamaran. She's totally out of it.
Oh,
KFC catered it.
KFC?
Yeah, they had KFC on board for this wedding. But it turns out it's not a legally binding ceremony.
Phew.
I know. And you just have to think, what the fuck is going on here? Because she's just given birth.
And she's
son's
grieving.
Died.
Yeah.
She's grieving. She's jacked up on loads of meds. Howard K. Stern is telling the whole world they're married.
This guy's a monster, honestly. Calm down, Howard. Okay.
And then in October 2006, a few weeks after the wedding that wasn't a wedding, Daniel's funeral took place in the Bahamas. And apparently Anna Nicole asked to see the body. And when she saw him, she just jumped on top of him and started shaking him, saying, "Wake up, wake up."
Oh, no.
And then they had to restrain and medicate her. And she apparently stayed heavily medicated on prescription drugs for the next 4 months. Basically a living zombie, clutching this picture of her son.
This is a heartbreaking story, Michelle.
I know.
It's so sad.
It's terrible.
What a tragic life. What a tragedy.
Well, it gets worse. Just telling you. On February 5th, 2007, Anna Nicole decides she's going to try and do some modelling to bring in some cash because she's decided, I want to buy a luxury yacht. Howard K. Stern finds this boat that they might be able to buy, but it's in Hollywood, Florida, not California.
Oh.
So they fly from the Bahamas to Florida to check it out. So it's Anna Nicole, Howard K. Stern, Anna's bodyguard Maurice, and a doctor called Christine Erosovich. They all go to look at this boat, leaving Daniel Lynn behind with a nanny until they get back. But from the Bahamas to Florida, Anna Nicole starts coming down with these flu-like symptoms. And she says the whole left side of her body is hurting. And when they check her temperature, she's got a fever of 105. But she refuses to go to the hospital. God knows why. Maybe because she's jacked up on drugs. I don't know. Probably because she knew it would be a paparazzi shit show.
Yeah.
Either way, she doesn't go to the hospital. And instead, the group check into the Apollo suite at the Hard Rock Hotel, where this doctor, who's with them, gives her antibiotics and flu medication and an ice bath to bring down her temperature. And then she's given something called chlorohydrate, which they give it to her to sleep, but it sounds like fucking chloroform.
Yeah.
On the Tuesday, February 6th, 2007, Anna Nicole spends the day at the hotel, dosed up on a cocktail of meds, including muscle relaxants, and she's like, my body stinks.
Huh?
So she takes a bath. Yeah, she's like, I don't smell good. She takes a bath, feels a bit better. Wednesday, she's still not feeling good, so she takes another bath, but she slips and hits her head and possibly has a mild concussion. But the doctor, who's meant to be her like personal doctor, is like, oh, yeah, maybe you got a concussion, but I got to go somewhere.
Wow.
So she has a panic attack and the doctor stays. Then on the Thursday at 10 a.m., she wakes up, Anna Nicole wakes up feeling, a bit better, but still weak. And she notices that on the left side of her body, including her bum cheek, she's covered in these infected, pus-filled abscesses that are swollen and oozing and yellow.
Wow, what is that?
I don't know, but how did the doctor not see this?
No. It just all sounds so dodgy, the people that are around her.
I know. I mean, as a doctor, surely she should have insisted, you need to go to hospital. So she just goes back to bed because she's not feeling well. Her bodyguard goes down to have some hotel breakfast. Howard K. Stern goes off to look at this boat. The bodyguard's wife, Tasma, is left there to keep an eye on Anna Nicole because fuck knows where that doctor's gone. And around 1 o'clock that day, a friend of Anna Nicole's called Bridget stops by to see Anna Nicole. And she goes into Anna Nicole's room and she's there basically looking lifeless.
Oh, no.
So she starts screaming and Tasma rushes in, starts giving Anna Nicole CPR, but she's unresponsive. So the bodyguard calls Howard K. Stern, not 911.
Why not 911? Exactly.
Who fucking knows? Because he's down at the marina looking this boat.
Twat.
He then calls the Hard Rock Hotel front desk and asks them to call the police.
Not 911 still. Fucking hell.
Nope. 38 minutes go by before 911 call is actually made by the hotel because I think, who knows why, maybe they don't want a dead celebrity in the hotel. She's going through cardiac arrest. Her lips are blue. Someone thinks there's a pulse. Someone else thinks there's not a pulse.
They're all experts.
Oh, yeah. She's surrounded by dicks. The paramedics arrive. They use a defibrillator to try and kickstart her heart. And they're doing this. Howard K. Stern arrives on the scene. Anna Nicole is rushed to a hospital by ambulance where at 2:49 she is pronounced dead.
Oh, my God.
She's 39 years old.
That's so sad and awful. That poor woman.
I know. Now, her death was declared an accidental overdose, and apparently the toxicology reports found 9 drugs in her system, including antidepressants, anti-anxiety meds, a human growth hormone, that chlorohydrate they gave her, and all of these track marks on her ass. And
on her ass? Well, she's not doing that to herself.
well, I don't know. But they think, while she was in the Hard Rock, bacteria somehow leaked into her bloodstream through those track marks.
I see.
That caused the severe infection.
Like a sepsis.
All those pussy. Yeah. They also found that Anna Nicole had Hashimoto's that had never been diagnosed.
What is that again?
Low thyroid.
Oh, okay.
And they think that was probably the reason for her weight problems, but also it caused a lot of problems for her health. She basically died in this horrible, undignified way. And that's how Anna Nicole left this world.
Wow.
But Geordie, of course, that's not the end of the drama.
No.
The whole world weighed in on this tragic life and death story. Everyone wanted a piece of her, even in death. And Howard K. Stern is still raking in the money, selling pictures, doing all that stuff. He wanted to have her buried in the Bahamas. Virgie suddenly pops up out of nowhere and wants her buried in Texas. Yeah, exactly.
Who's looking after the baby?
The nanny. She does go to the Bahamas to be buried. Well, they fly her to her body to the Bahamas. There were 100 people there to pay their respects, including Entertainment Tonight, who Howard K. Stern had sold the broadcast rights to. So he's still making money off her, even though she's not even cold. The paternity battle escalates because, like I said before, Daniel Lynn is now the heir to all this money, if it's coming. Other people started coming out of the woodwork saying, I'm the father.
Oh, no.
Yeah, there's Larry Birkhead. There's Howard K. Stern.
Yeah.
Then there's a guy, this fake prince called Prince Frederick von Anhalt. He threw his dick into the ring here, saying he's the daddy, that he's been having an affair with Anna Nicole for the past 10 years. But this guy is actually married to Zsa Zsa Gabor, who is, at the time, catatonic and about to die.
Oh, my God.
I know.
So he's freaking out about his next cash cow.
Exactly. So he's trying to get in on it.
These people.
There's a former bodyguard who comes out saying, I'm the daddy.
Jeez.
Everyone's got a little idea about it. The sister, Donna Hogan, who was Anna Nicole's half-sister, says, I think it's Howard Marshall's sperm that was used and, all of this stuff.
They want the money. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it all came to an end in April 2007 when a Bahamian court ruled that DNA evidence showed Larry Birkhead was the daddy and he got full custody of the baby.
Thank God.
And of course, all of this is all over the media. You couldn't read a magazine or turn on the television without hearing something crazy about Anna Nicole Smith. Even in death, the drama was still following her. The upshot of all this today is, in terms of the money, after Anna Nicole died in 2007, the case was continued on behalf of Daniel Lynn Birkhead. But in March 2010, an appeals court upheld the verdict that left Anna Nicole with nothing.
Nothing.
From the estate of J. Howard Marshall. Oh. Nothing. Now, her lawyers again appealed, but it was denied. And in August 2014, a federal US District Court judge rejected further appeals, and to this day, I'm pretty sure she still has nothing from J. Howard Marshall's estate, which is really sad for her daughter.
It is sad, except her daughter has a more stable and more publicity-shy father who hopefully has raised her in a much more stable environment than what would have happened had she stayed with Anna Nicole. I'm sorry to say that, but it just sounds like it was an absolute circus.
Well, do you know what? You're absolutely right. Larry Birkhead has kept Daniel Lynn out of the spotlight. She's 17 now, and she has been raised as a normal kid in Kentucky, has had a really great life. Apparently, he's a fantastic dad.
Wonderful.
That is the tragic rise and fall of Anna Nicole Smith, one of reality TV's earliest casualties.
What a story, Michelle. You've put a lot of work into that. Thank you very much for telling us that.
That is okay. She just, do you know what? I do wonder if she thought she had a good life.
there's a lot of drugs. It seems like there might have been a lot of confusion and not much time for reflection.
Yeah. She didn't even make 40. So
I know,
it
that's
was a
sad.
short life. She burned bright. So R.I.P. Anna Nicole Smith.
R.I.P. Anna Nicole. I'll definitely check out that documentary. Do put the links up on our Patreon.
I will. And quite frankly, I will watch it too, because I should have watched it before I did this bloody episode.
The Patreon, Michelle, I think that we ought to do, if we can, when we get the time, a little, I'm not going to say regular because it's difficult at the moment, but a little corner, a telly corner, where we put all our recommendations. So listeners, if you're still with us, do write in with voice notes, with emails, with suggestions. What are you watching and why? And what are you enjoying about it? And we can tell our other listeners all about it. So when you're bereft of things to watch, you can just refer back to the Patreon and hit up your list.
And maybe actually I can even create a little Telerex chitty-chatty thing so our patrons can
pop it there.
Interact with each other. Yeah, they can pop it on themselves too.
Great idea. Speaking of telly, it sounds like there's an awful lot of maths gossip going on in Australia. What are you hearing?
I haven't heard anything. What the hell? What's going on?
Well, it's still going on. All the drama and the fights are now playing out on social media. And I think Timothy of Lucinda and Timothy has been biting back at Jack, the purple ham, and some other ex-contestants who've all been slamming each other on the social medias. But meanwhile,
I'll have to read up on that.
Lucinda, who we love, is actually coming out here to the UK to tour. And she's going to be doing some spoken word tours on my birthday.
Oh my God. She should have had Eavesdropping as her support act.
That would have been amazing. But unfortunately, I'm actually otherwise engaged because I've agreed to go to another party, and it's going to be Dr. Eileen Banana's 40th anniversary with his partner. It makes him sound really old, but they got together really young. And why I'm talking about him is because he's kindly invited me. I'm going to Glastonbury to perform as a mermaid on top of his mechanical turtle. So if anyone's going to be in Glastonbury this year, come and find me. God knows where I'll be, but I'll be on top of a turtle every night from 11:30 for an hour dancing. Somewhere near a rave tent.
God.
Come and find me.
That sounds wonderful. I wish I had tickets to Glasgow. That just sounds like a blast.
Yeah.
Well done. I urge all of our British eavesdroppers to go to Glasgow just to see Geordie on top of a turtle.
I think it's going to be worth your while.
What a hoot.
We've come to the end of the episode. Thank you, Michelle, for your glorious deep dive into Anna Nicole tragedy. You took me on a high for about 2 seconds, and then it was just a bouncy low, low, low. All the rest of the story, that poor woman.
That poor woman. R.I.P. But I do think it does lead us to really only 3 things left to say, Geordie.
Wherever you are.
Whatever you do. Just keep eavesdropping.
Eavesdropping, eavesdropping, dropping, eavesdropping, dropping, eavesdropping, eavesdropping, dropping, dropping.